Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning and welcome to the Winning Live broadcast. It is my pleasure having you here once again. Today is the fifth day of November 2022, and I am so delighted welcoming you to the first episode that we are doing in the month of November. I am Okay, sorry for that breaking transmission. I want to welcome you to the first episode that we are doing in the month of November. And that's also a way of saying to you, Happy New Month. This is November and it's just a month before the end of the year. I want to believe that you're planning how to, end this year beautifully well already, and already you've started making plans for your 2023. If you've not, please, this is the right time to do it. January is not for planning, January is for execution. So start planning, start making preparations now. All right, I'm so glad that you are back with me this Saturday on the Winning Live broadcast. You may be asking if this is your first time of joining us on the Winning Live broadcast. What is the Winning Live broadcast all about? What do you talk about here? Why must you do Winning Live every Saturday morning? Let me quickly, share with you the vision of the Winning Live broadcast. The vision of the Winning Live broadcast is to bring to you values, principles, skills, and strategies that will help you become, a successful person in different ramifications of your life. All right. And if you're returning, viewer, I am so glad that you're here once again. If you're a new viewer, welcome, 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 welcome. You can follow me. You can also, follow me on this platform. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just search Solomon Okeke on YouTube. You're going to see, you know, uh, the channel, and there are amazing contents there. All right. I am so glad once again to have you. So this week, this month, last month, we started, on a series which is going to last till the end of December, and that's on academic excellence. And I've been bringing guests, from time to time to share with us what they know about academic excellence. I know I've brought a guest who shared about how he bagged his first class. That was the part one of this particular episode or particular edition, and this is the part two. I also know I brought a guest who shared about beyond the classroom. So last week I shared on strategies for winning academically, and I made it clear that just like life is battle, anything in life there is a battle component of it, and if you must succeed academically, you must be willing to fight that battle. You must be willing to take the responsibility. You must be willing to make out time to do the things that you're supposed to do. So a quick recap on last week's session is that a quick recap on last week's session. It's that you have to take responsibility. A lot of people blame lecturers. A lot of people blame their fellow students. A lot of people blame their parents. A lot of people blame their sponsors. A lot of people blame even the church, for their failures. All right. And that is where the challenge is. If you're not taking responsibility for your life, you can easily put the blame on anybody. All right. But if you're a person who consciously wants to grow and you want to put the responsibility on yourself, then you will make every effort, you will make every attempt to become better and better and succeed academically. All right. I also said that you have to take out time to do the things that you ought to do. All right. And I pointed out that some of the people who fail in school is not because they are not intelligent. It's not because they really did not read and study, but because they didn't do some of the things they were supposed to do on time. All right. For example, students when you get into school, newly registered newly admitted students, there are so many things you need to do. You need to get your files. You need to do that. You need to make sure that do your medicals and all that. Some people start those processes late, and when they start it late, they're already entirely disorganized. So it won't reflect in their results. I gave an example of people who in my school, we are in the last batch. When I say the last batch, I mean that they were in. Okay, so when I said the last batch, I mean that they did their registration late and it reflected in their results. So you have to take time to do the things that you need to do on time. And I also said you have to avoid distraction. Distractions can be in any form. I would want to encourage you to go watch that video of last week's session. I think is about maybe 20 something, 30 minutes. It's going to help you to understand, basic and very vital and important strategies you can apply to win academically. So I don't want to take much of your time. I want to quickly invite and then introduce to you my guest today. All right. I'm just getting to know her newly, and it's such an honor to have her on this show. Guys, it's such an honor to have someone of her class, of her level, of her caliber on this show. And like, we don't take it for granted. We don't take it for granted. I am so excited to be hosting the phenomenal Chioma Ekaette Okoro on the Winning Live broad. Okay,
Chisom,
Chisom,
yeah.
yeah, sorry, sorry, I mixed it up. The phenomenal Chisom Ekaette Okoro on the Winning Live broadcast this morning. It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Chisom is an education enthusiast. He holds a history making. I'm going to be asking her what the meaning of history making is, all right, when the time comes. She holds a history making first class degree in philosophy from the University of Uyo, and she has served
Baby,
in
I'm live now.
different and she has served in different leadership positions. So it is really, really my honor to have her this morning. I'm so, so excited. Thank you so much for being on this show.
Thank you for
Chisom.
having me. Thank you. I
Okay,
really do
and guys,
appreciate.
wherever you are, you know how we do it. You know how we do it. You give her an e-clap to welcome her to the platform. Everywhere you are, do an e-clap, do an e-clap. And please, if you're here, I want you to share this live video to somebody. I want you to share on your timeline, share on your pages, copy the link, share on your WhatsApp, share to close friends who you know are in school and who wants to achieve academic excellence. I want you to share to parents who have children. I want you to share to your secondary school, siblings, children, everybody that you know that will need this. Please share with them. Share with them. Excellence is important, and if you must achieve excellence, you must learn how to. And this is a platform to learn how to. So let's welcome with an equal wherever you are,
Thank you
Mrs.
so much,
Chisom.
Solomon. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be live here with you to share the little knowledge I have.
It's really
Thank
my
you. I
pleasure.
appreciate.
It's really my pleasure. So I'm going to be giving you the platform now to share with us, how you did it. What are the principles, you applied to make the best, to make the history making, first class. Over to you.
Okay, well, why I you asked earlier why I would say okay, it was a history making, story. Well, before I came in my department, you'd normally be told that it's not it's difficult for you to make first class in my department, and before then there was no one who had made that history. So I thank God for the opportunity given to me to break that record. And I must say it wasn't easy, but of course it was worth it. So to my story, I know well most people might not really like my perspective, but I'm still going to say it. First of all, I do not believe that you can really achieve anything without having any spiritual background. You have to be a spiritual man for you to get most of the things you want out of life. Because my own journey, I would say, was strictly by the help of the Holy Spirit. Most people have asked me, maybe you were very intelligent. Well, I agree. I would have God would have blessed me with intelligence. But I can tell you that I'm very sure that most people would have gone through the same process I went through, but they still, and being also very intelligent, but they still didn't make it. So, well, my own story, I've had several instances where I was very tired, but then God always reminded me of what I've learned in class. I've gone also to exam halls where I forgot so many things, but I was very, very much helped by the Holy Spirit. So let that just be the foundation of our discussion today. So let me go into some of the things that my lecturers would not love to hear right now, but I'm sorry, SARS and Mars. I'm really going to share my own secrets, all right? One of the secrets I learned when I was in school was that, first of all, you have to know the lecturer. Like, understanding what the personality of your lecturer is one of the key things that will help any student. The reason is this: when you understand the kind of lecturer you have, it will direct you as per how you answer the lecturer's question. For instance, let's say a lecturer that does not really fashion anything that has to do with maybe God. I study philosophy, and we have those on the extreme. Those who believe that, okay, you should really talk about God. Those who believe, no, your idea should be rational. So when you give a lecturer what he wants, he will give you what you want. I'm sorry, yes, you may read for general knowledge, you know a lot, but when it comes to passing the exam, it has a lot to do with who the lecturer is. And of course, if you give him what he wants, he'll give you what you want. Then another thing I want to say is that I noticed from my experience that the first class of the semester and the last class, for me, it was the most important class. The reason is, in the first class, the lecturer will seem to introduce himself, because that's where, remember in my first point, I said knowing the lecturer is very important. So it is, sorry, pardon me. It is in the first class of the semester that you get to really understand the lecturer. He introduces himself, what he wants and what he doesn't want. So by attending his first class, you get to know what he wants. And then in the last class, most lecturers would, sort of give you a tip of what their exam will look like in their last class. So I love to really, and most times they'll love to do a summary. Sometimes they don't even intentionally want to do that, but it's just in human psychology, it's just natural for them to want to pour out everything that they believe you need to know about that course. And trust me, the things you see them stressing on, emphasizing on, is most likely the things that will come out during the exam. And then, of course, you have to have a positive mindset. I'm not trying to sound like a motivational speaker here, but the truth is that when you're positive about a course, it is most likely you're going to see through it. So when I go to personally, before I enter into a particular semester, I'll go back to see the result of the previous set. Most times there's some courses that they'll tell you, okay, in this course, everybody failed though. Imagine these people, they are so wicked. How can everybody fail a particular course? Guess what? Personally, I'll go to the results when the results are pasted, and I'll go there. I will not check for any F on the course. The only thing I'm going to do is I'll go to the result sheet. I'll single out if there was anybody that had an A. And trust me, for every course that people said, okay, everybody is having an F, at least one person must have had an A B, or a C. So I'll tell myself, if somebody had a C, or if somebody had an A, even if it is going to be only one person, that one person has to be me. And there's something about positive declarations. Your words are very, very important. And what you say to yourself, it comes to pass. Like I said, I'm not trying to sound like a motivational speaker, but this is something that has actually impacted on me. And I believe if you practice this, it can also work for you. Then another thing I want to share is academic planning. Yes, so when you get to plan your life, your semester, I'm sorry, but it can be very, very, stressful. But I usually plan my time even to the last second. Like, of course, I was very active politically. I was very active in my church in Victory Chapel. However, I was also active, academically, as of course you've seen my results. I can say this was also a result of planning. Like I planned to the last minute that by 5 o'clock I'm supposed to be here. I only have 20 minutes to walk from my I only have 20 minutes to walk from so location to be at so location. Most people that knew me back then in school can tell you that I used to walk very fast. And that's because I gave myself timeline. I had a timeline to be in a particular location, either for school fellowship. I had a timeline to be in, I had to plan my time to be sure that, okay, if I'm staying in this place for 20 minutes, how is it going to be affecting where I'm supposed to be? So let's say for any reason I had to stay beyond, say, if I was supposed to be there for 20 minutes and I stayed for 22 minutes, I'll have to hasten my step to be in my next location so that I used to plan my time for sleep because I understood that if I'm planning to go for night class, I had to plan my time for sleep. If not, that night class was going to be a flaw. Or say if I probably had on Mondays, we used to have youth fellowship. So if I'm going for youth fellowship or in the evening, I would go to for night class and sleep first for the first, let's say for the first 2-3 hours. I'll sleep and then set an alarm and wake up in that same class to read, let's say throughout the night, depending if I have 8 o'clock class or thereabout. So you can see that there's a lot of planning, like planning your day, It's very, very important to your academic life. Then again, understanding yourself too, because I know there are some people that they don't really like to read at night. Some people also, if they read at night, they gain everything. And I am a kind of person that I work best when there's pressure. So I just make sure that, let's say towards the exam period, I take in so much because it's at that time that my mind is so active to so many things. I know one thing that I love to do is that I love to attend my lectures because I believe that if I do not miss my lectures, the little I read will be able to complement me to, get the best out of what I'll read at the end of the semester. I'm not saying you shouldn't, of course, from time to time, let's say between the semester, I'll get to read. I have my own study plan. I read the first half for that semester, let's say at the beginning part before. Personally, I used to read for my semester before the lecturer comes to class. What that did to me is that at the point when I have gotten to a part that I do not understand, before the lecturer comes into class, I already have my questions to ask. So that it will not be at the point where I'm reading for the exams and we've passed that course. The lecturer has already finished teaching. I'll now go back to go and read what he taught me. I'll now be having questions in my mind and there's nobody to answer them. Of course, that's failure already. But if I read before the class, of course, I'm able to ask my lecturers, okay, sir, what is this thing? I don't understand this particular point, and because of that, I'll be able to have answers to my questions. And of course, it allows you to ask intelligent questions. I know once you're asking your lecturer a question that triggers his mind, even to the things he did not see, he already would have a positive perspective about you. That's one thing one of the tactics I used when I was in school. I think that is, I don't know if we'll be having probably some questions, but for me, that has been one of the things I applied when I was in school. And then lastly, I still want to conclude with this. I believe that having the help of the Holy Spirit is very, very important. Very, very important for anybody who wants to excel. Well, you might not be someone who really believes in in the spiritual aspect, but for the folks that believe in Jesus Christ. Personally, I know there are some instances where I came back from fellowship and I was very tired. I didn't have much time to prepare. So I just told God that I really need your help. And in my sleep that night, the Lord opened my eyes to four areas of that study. And by by um by listening to what the holy there was even an instance that I shared with my friends. I told them, okay, this is what I shared with my friends that, okay, this is what helped me to when I was studying, the Lord revealed this to me. And trust me, what I shared with them was what came to pass. What I shared with them, it was exactly what came to pass. So those four questions that God gave to me in my heart was exactly what came out during that exam. And you know how good it can be that you read a particular topic and that particular topic came to pass. Trust me, you do so well. Then, of course, before I close here, let me also say that you should start answering your question with the one you know the correct answers. And when you try as much as possible to make your handwriting to be very good, let your English be very sweet, even if you don't know so much what for a particular answer, but make sure that your English is well constructed. Because when a lecturer starts reading what you're writing and your English is flowing, your thoughts are flowing, even when you're not giving out so much, he'll think that, okay, wow, this person knows what he's doing. Even when your points are not so, you probably had few points, but you're making, so much English out of it. It could make, sense and give you a headway to what you're trying to deliver to your lecturer. So that's it for me. And I would love to. I don't know if you'll be having some questions coming in
Wow.
or yeah.
Wow. All right, thank you so much. Okay, before we continue, I would want to ask that the audience start dropping their questions on the comment section. We can see your comments, we can see all your comments. So your questions, when you drop them, we'll see them and then we'll, respond to them. I want to sincerely thank you. Chisom. This is powerful. This is really, 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 really powerful. All right.
Thank you so much.
Especially, starting from the Holy Spirit, the spiritual aspect of it. I always say that there's an intellectual part of academic excellence, and there's a spiritual part of it. The truth is that we cannot truly succeed. We cannot truly succeed if we remove the place of the Holy Spirit. It will remove the place of our faith in God, and then we are looking for how to make it out. No. Especially if you're a Christian, you cannot go into the exam hall and not remember that you have the Holy Spirit. You cannot, study for the exam. You cannot just go and be writing anything without the help of the Holy Spirit. There was an exam I wrote recently. There's an exam I wrote recently, and two exams actually. One, I came and then I said, Holy Spirit, this seems one of the things I do is I usually, when I get the answer script in my school, they share the answer script to you. Then they share the question paper. So once I get the answer script, that's the first thing that gets into my hands, and I pray with it. I make four prayers, very quickly. I said, God, I want retentive memory. I want to recall everything I've read. God, whatever that will cause anybody to book me, because sometimes it's so you won't even understand it. Then maybe there's a paper by your seat, you don't even know where the paper came from. You enter into problem. I say, God, I find favor in the eyes of anybody that is marking the script. I said, God, I pray against any form of missing scripts, because, oh my God, the devil is, he can just mess you up. You are saying, I've written, and then the paper is missing. So those are the four major prayers I make every day. Every day, once I enter into the exam hall, in fact, before my pen is gets on the paper. Some people will start rushing to write their reg number, write this, write that. Yeah, those are beautiful. But why don't you, there's a spiritual aspect of it, and it's very important. All right. In your concluding part, I love what you said about handwriting. Please, if you want to achieve excellence, please go and learn how to write well. You cannot be scribbling things and then the lecturer is having is having issues, marking your script. It reduces your mark, whether you believe it or not. You may know what you're writing, but
Yeah,
when the,
very true.
when the person who is marking it is, straining his eyes, trying to understand, what you wrote, they were in order, but someone is trying to understand, and sometimes in Nigeria, there are so many people in classes, there is a class that will have up to, depending on what course you're studying, there's a class that will have up to 300, 400. There are classes that have 700. There are classes that have 1,000. And these are responsibilities on the head of one lecturer to mark. And because they are in a haste to make sure that they meet up with time, your handwriting is causing a problem. So as a
Yeah,
student, if you want to achieve excellence, please, handwriting is very key. And then good English, write it. It mustn't be, some people, they will just give the lecturer the definition that the lecturer gave to them, and then they will go. No, even if you need to write that definition as he writes it, because I've come to understand that there are some lecturers that will want you to write what they gave you. Yes, but even if you're going to write it as they gave it to you, could you also put in your own thoughts, and make it, ensure that it's flowing? It's not something that, it's not
okay.
something that, they have to, find difficult understanding. All right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you want to say
So
something?
yeah. So just to add to that, I want to say that also being friendly, not being antagonizing to your lecturers can also really help you. When
Mm.
I mean, don't be outstanding for the bad,
Yeah.
because there are some lecturers, we are human beings.
Mm.
Lecturers are also human beings, and
Mm.
we have the tendency to tie the marks we give to the student, as much as we want to say, okay, lecturers are objective markers and all of that. Trust me, some of them might want to, well, 69 is almost 70 now. Let me just give the person 70. You're a very good. But when you're someone who is outstanding for the bad, they have
Mm.
no reason to give any consideration. I'm 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 saying, right, there are some lecturers that might want to add just 5 marks to everybody because of you.
Yeah.
So you might just want to be outstanding for the good. You, of
Mm.
course, friends with your lecturers with borders. So try as
Yes.
much not to be seen, that you're the one giving your lecturers issues and all of that. And then
Mm.
one
Mm.
of the things that I believed in school, when you're saying, okay, you're praying for God to help you, but you're cheating in an exam hall. I'm
Mm.
sorry, but you're living by double standards, and there's no way God can honor that. Because one
Mm.
of my principles when I was in school was that it is better to write and fail than
Mm.
to cheat and pass. My colleagues in
Mm.
school, some of them that are in this live video, they can tell you of a truth.
Mm.
I Once I enter an exam hall, I might want to differ from you. I don't believe that's the time you start praying and all of that. Whatever you did
Mm.
not pray before you come to your exam hall, I'm sorry, you're just trying to, you know, I just believe, right, that you should pray
Yeah.
first. Like
Mm.
spend as much time as you can praying before the exam. Once the
Mm.
time that you are now allocated to write your exam has started, please start writing. Because if you
Mm.
did not conquer before you come, you cannot conquer, when you are there already. You don't prepare on the battlefield. You prepare before the battle is started. So, like I said, I just believe that it is better that I go to an exam, write it, and fail the course instead of cheating. So I didn't want
Mm.
to know anything about, you call me, you say, okay, and please, what's this now? No, no, no. See, I know it already. I just wanted to remind me. No, don't remind me. And don't ask me to remind you. My classmates, they all knew that. And thank you for them that they all, in the beginning, it was quite difficult. Sometimes they'll say, do you want to pass alone? I understand that. But I know at the ending part, some of them understood that, okay, this was my own principles. It did not mean that there are some instances where I did not know there were no instances where I didn't know what to write. In fact, there's a particular exam. Just before the exam, I was technically teaching people, like, I was explaining something to someone. And then I went into the exam hall. I totally forgot every single thing that I needed to write. Oh my God. My head was blank. I almost regretted having to, it was as if, okay, I was pouring out everything to people. I went into the exam hall. I didn't remember anything I read. And this was a course that I knew almost everything about. Like, I totally forgot. My mind went blank. It was as if the only option now was to just be begging people, please tell me, what was this answer? What was this answer? But I just prayed to God and I said, God, this principle of mine is going to be costing me so much, but I'll rely on you. I just started writing. Like, I just started writing on that course. The ones that looked like I knew the answer, I just started writing, writing just to write something. I made sure that, all my answers, no, I didn't leave any paper blank. I just made sure, because you wouldn't have known which one I write that would make sense to the lecturer, At that point, I was totally blank. So I just continued to write. And trust me, God did a miracle in that course. I had a B, in a course that he went in, not knowing the answer to any question at all. Not like I didn't know. I didn't remember. There's some questions that if you don't know the answer, you don't know the answer. And trust me, I totally forgot. So I totally forgot all of them. But well, the way God did it, I just believe that somehow God can take, your faith in him and turn it into something, really big. And so that is it for me. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's really, really beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You also said something about, and I think I also need to highlight it. You also said something about, starting from the ones you know. A lot of people want to
Yeah.
write, they just want to, there are questions, there are exams you will enter, they'll say number one is compulsory. So, and maybe in some cases they will give more marks to number one. Some people, you don't know number one, but because it's compulsory, you want to stay there, and
Okay. Well, because it is compulsory does not mean that is the question you should start with.
yeah.
That is my own tactics. Let's say the lecturer is saying number one is compulsory, and you look at it that you don't know number one so well, but you know number two very, very well. Like, you know the answer from beginning to end. My own advice is this: start in number two. Write it
Yeah.
so intelligently that by the time the lecturer goes to the question that is compulsory, you already be thinking, wow, this is an excellent student. He already has a perspective about you before he marks, as he keeps marking, you already be seeing you as an intelligent student. So just start with, my own plan was this. By the time I look at all my questions, let's say they say pick four. Four questions, you must answer four questions. Number one is compulsory. I'll look at all the questions and I'll first of all tick all the ones that I know the answers best to. Then I'll arrange them according to the ones I know the answers better.
Okay.
I'll write this on. Okay, this is what I'm answering: first, second, third, fourth. Then on my, I'll start scribbling on my question paper the answers by points, because I want to know how my thoughts while writing will flow. Then I'll start scribbling, okay, this will be my point one, point two, point three, point four. Then I'll now move my answers to the answer sheet, so that by the time I finish all the points, I'll now start marking which one I'm going to be, putting on my answer sheet first. This one will be okay number. This will be my first point to lead me to this, lead me to the other one. So by doing that, my thought process in my writing would flow, naturally, to be leading me to different points. When you do that, your lecturer will most likely be like, oh, wow, this person knows what he's doing. Trust me,
Mm.
when your thought process in your writing flows very well, it makes the person to your lecturer to feel like, okay, you're really an intelligent student, even when it's much more about tactics and planning than being intelligent. I believe there are so many people who are intelligent in school who didn't
Mm.
really have excellent results. So it wouldn't have been because I was the most intelligent or so. I'm believing. I believe also that there were other people who were more intelligent than me. Like I said, your
Yeah.
character, your relationship with your lecturers also matters a lot. And I believe that helped me a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then in some schools they wouldn't want you to write on your question paper.
Okay.
Like my school, they wouldn't. No, you would be booked. They will say it's my practice. So one of the things, one what I do usually is once I start seeing the questions, the highest I can write on the question paper is to tick. Just like you said, tick the ones I know that I want to answer. Then the last page of my answer script, I'll go there, and then on top of it, I'll boldly write rough and circle it. And that's where I now start putting the points down, just like you mentioned. All right. So it is so important that you understand what works in
Just
your school.
reminded me of something. So there's this thing about extra sheets that my colleagues used to, you know, have an issue with me. Of course, naturally, I'm a writer. I don't love to write per se, but when I write, I make sure that my thought is, put together. So on most occasions, I always say, okay, sir, please extra sheets. And they'll be like, this girl, what are you writing? When we are not even able to cover the ones that we are given, and you're already asking for extra sheets, what is your problem? But let me just explain, right? There is a psychology about there's a way structure your writing that it will
Mm,
look beautiful to the person that is seeing it. So
mm,
let's say you've written to the last page, and you still have more things you want to write, but you just want to squeeze it in so that you won't go to the next page. I just believe that instead of trying to round up your thoughts, express everything on that paper. Let your lecturer can also, okay, I don't want to read this too much. Just express yourself on that paper, even if you feel like, okay, what you're writing does not really make sense. You never can tell what is the real sense to the person that is writing it. Some lecturers also, like I said earlier, understanding your lecturer. Some lecturers want you to write, just give me the point. Please know what your lecturer. Some lecturers say, okay, I don't want to. You don't go and be speaking plenty grammar. Give me what I gave you. Some lecturers are like that. Some
yeah.
lecturers, they will not tell you all of this, but by contributing in class, the kind of things that that makes them happy. You see somebody answering a question in class, and to you it sounds like, okay, it's so good. Lecturer will be like, what are you saying now? After all the English, I know a lecturer of mine that to tell you, and so after everything, so what have you said now? So some lecturers just don't like so much English. They just want you to go to the point. There are also some lecturers that if you do extra research and you give them something outside of what they give you, so many points outside of what they gave you in class, you have almost all the mark. We know those lecturers. So for
Mm,
me, I'll just say, just give your lecturer what he wants, not what you know. I'm sorry, this might sound very absurd, but that's the truth. If you
mm,
give your lecturer what he wants, your own is to pass the exam. That is where your score will come from. Not just
mm.
to, you can read for your knowledge sake, but when it comes to writing exam and passing, please give your lecturer only what he wants, irrespective of what you believe.
Yeah.
There are some lecturers that if you just write, once you mention God, that this and that, you are your A1 is guaranteed once you go in that direction. And
Yeah.
those kind of people, no matter how intelligent you are, and you're arguing against their own moral beliefs, you've already
Mm,
failed. I'm
mm,
sorry to
mm,
say, but that is the truth. They might say,
mm.
no, we're in an academic, environment. Those things don't apply once you do this. But trust me, there is a natural inclination for you to give somebody an applause when the person is saying what you want to hear. So you might want to just go in line with the thought process or in line with the beliefs
Mm.
of your lecturer when you're writing an exam to pass, irrespective of what you believe here. So that's it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you have questions, I'm talking to the audience now, and if you have questions, please kindly drop them on the comment section. We are seeing all the comments. We are seeing all the comments. Then you can also do us a favor and then do someone a favor too by sharing this broadcast to the person. You can copy the link, share to their personal private, their personal WhatsApp, chat with you, share on your page, share on different places because it's going to be a blessing to someone. All right. So, I want to ask, in your academic journey, has there ever been a time where you are so overwhelmed that you just don't know what to do? I want to believe I want to believe that it differs from people anyway, but for me, final year, final year was so hectic, you know, very, very hectic. It was a time where you were so
Yeah.
overwhelmed. And what did you do to keep up, and to ensure that you got to the end of, that race?
Okay, so to be very, very honest, like you said, in my final year, I was very, very overwhelmed. There were so many things that came up that made me, at some point, I was very much down. I was handling so much responsibilities that my planning, planning my time, I noticed that even the time I had, the 24 hours was no longer enough for me to cover everything. So some people will see me walking so fast that it was as if I'm almost running. There was a time one of my pastors in the church, they saw me just coming from the gate of the school. He told me to, why am I walking like that? I should go back and walk like a lady. They didn't just know that I didn't even know when I started doing those things. So I want to say, right, when you're overwhelmed with so many things, in school, first of all, it's always good to have a support group. All right. I had
Yeah.
my a set of friends where I always moved on with, that whenever I need someone to help me with another thing, I always delegate, okay, please, ma, can you please help me to do the other one while I go off to do the other one? They'll also help you to give updates. Because if you're growing alone, it's most likely you're going to be failing. All of us most times will call each other, okay, come, let's go and read,
Mm,
we'll read together, we'll pray together. All those things, they really do help. There are some times when you're down and someone else is up and is able to, hold your hands to stand. So I believe that you should have support groups, people that can support you, not just people you eat together. Let them be people that can pray with you, people that can, read with you, people that if you sleep in class, you tell them, okay, I just need to sleep within this time to the other time. They'll be there to, to support you in your academic race. They can support you spiritually, they can support you in every aspect. And also, a lecturer might, not like you for so many reasons, but the lecturer might, just like your own friend for for whatsoever reason, and maybe there is an issue, that friend could be in that
mm,
position to speak for you. So please just try as much as possible not to
yeah.
grow alone. So have people that can support you in your academic, life, and also have people you can talk to. Because there's some people you talk to and they just give you this relief that you need. So that when you're overwhelmed, you can run to people,
Mm,
what can I do on this? Just to get, advice. Have a mentor too. I had a mentor when I was in school. In fact, so many of
mm,
them that I listen to, especially when it comes to my spiritual life, I always go to them. It's as if I'm always going every time, because I just didn't want to depend on what I know alone So I depended much on, okay, what people say, what my mentors are directing me on, and also on what God is telling me. When I was in school, it was very difficult for me to miss my personal devotion. I know certain instructions I used to have from God when I was in school. Like I'll have a particular instruction. So if I'm so overwhelmed, there was a time I was so overwhelmed. I just went on my bed. I woke up almost middle of the night. I was praying. I said, God, please, this is too much for me to
mm,
bear. Can you please just help me? Like at this point, I cannot help myself.
mm,
There are some things that could be so difficult. You cannot even tell anybody else. At that point, there is a God who can always, he'll just make that situation to go. Or probably you're having so much, academic load that, having little time frame to cover a lot. Especially now, let's say students that are going to be resuming after the strike, there'll be a lot of things jam-packed and you have to, cover a lot within a short period of time. You might want to go the extra mile, cut down on certain, social activities just to give priority. I know so many people say, okay, if I don't do this, I'll not be able to survive and all that. But see, I just believe that this 4 years has a lot to do with the remaining part of your life. I know some people don't use their certificate for anything, but after you've graduated, 10 years down the line, for promotion, they'll still say, okay, you and this person are on the same level, but because you have this social class and the other person, they shall just compare both of you. They'll always refer to what you finished with and all of that. This is, let's say, how many years down the line since I graduated, and people still may mention of the fact that, okay, this person finished with a first class. So many years down the line, people will still remember, what you finished with. So I'm not saying social gatherings are not important, but you might just, plan your time and give priority to your academics while you're in school. It's just for 4 years. After that, you have your time to do whatever you want to do, the fashion and stuff, so whatever is in your heart. So you can just dedicate your time if your certificate is important to you. And if, the name you want to make for yourself is important, you can just give your time to, your learning while you're in school so that you'll be able to, be proud of what you're coming out with. So you might just want to cut down on other social activities. um I'm not saying,
mm,
for instance, going to church is not important, but there is a limit. You might, if you used to stay first and second service, I know at this point in time your academics is being jam-packed, you might just want to do your first service. See, academics is a very, very personal thing. At the end, everybody you'll be praising God together. They'll still be the one gathering together to praise God when you graduate well. So you might just have to do some personal
mm.
planning, giving priority to what is important and also praying to the Lord to help you. If you're so jam-packed, there's a way the Holy Spirit can just help you to focus on which ones will come out in exam. Because you can attest to the fact that it is not everything you read on a particular course that will come out. You might even spend time. I remember one course when I was in secondary school where I read so much biology. You know how biology is very large. I read so much on the bone. I
Mm,
knew every particular thing about the bone. I was so knowledgeable about it, but it didn't come out in my exam. Since then, I just make sure that whatever I'm doing, I have to pray first so that God will give me direction on what to read. What, cause when you're particular about it, when you have a lot and you're able to sieve out just little to take, of course the rest you can read them for knowledge sake, especially people that are practicing what they are doing for knowledge sake. You read,
yes.
improve. When you finish studying, you have all your life to continue reading what to continue reading the remaining parts of that course. But for your exam sake, I'm sorry, people might say, okay, this is too, am I not supposed to know everything before exam? Sorry, but what you need is just enough to pass exam. That is the truth. You have all your life to continue to read, but for the sake of your exam, you need God to give you the real direction that you need to pass that exam, to focus on which one to read. because that is what your lecturers are going to judge you by. And of course, your certificate will be a whole, package of what your lecturers have been scoring you at. So just try as much as
Yeah.
possible to, give your lecturer what they want. Another thing is also have a track of your academic record so that it will motivate you to either sit up or, okay, if I have this, maybe I just need this particular thing to make it. There was a time that I saw my academic record by myself and I was like, oh, I really need to sit up to, I need this course so much. So I had to do extra to make sure that, okay, I need at least an A in this course. Because some people just go to school, okay, let me see what the lecturer will score me. They're not so intentional about what they want to score on that course. So yeah, that's it.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. You made mention of having a group, and that was profound for me. Some time ago, I was writing. I was in exam hall writing, and then one lady, one girl like that, entered the exam hall. That was halfway, midway into the exam, and she was looking for her hall. She didn't know the hall where she was supposed to write exam. And exam had gone. It was a 3 hours exam. We've stayed like 1.5 hours. And she entered her hall. It was not even her hall. So, and then after that incident, I was discussing with someone. I said, why would she? First of all, she didn't come to school on time for the exam. She knew the schedule. She knew the timing that she was supposed to write exam. Secondly, she didn't have people. Is it that out of everybody in her class, she didn't have anybody that could maybe call her and tell her this is where we are writing exam? And she was, wondering. And of course, that late, she's already late. If she's ever even able to locate her hall, there's a bigger possibility that the invigilators won't allow her to write exam. So some people fail not really because they are not intelligent, but because they don't have that, they've not created that relationship, they've not built support system around them that will help them to do just things that somehow seemingly doesn't even matter, but really matters. All right. So we have a question on the screen, and that will be the second to last. After that, we're going to be taking the final part. That's the parting words. Mercy said, "What were your reading pattern? What were your reading patterns, considering the fact that you were knee deep into school politics, and how would you say it contributed to your success?" She said, "A lot of people delve into politics and their grades never recover."
Okay, well, for me, to be very, very honest, my political journey was quite rough. That being in school and being into politics. However, I didn't go into politics because of myself. Like actually had a spiritual revelation to go into it. I shared it with my friends, and they believed me because I was quite young and going into it. So to be very honest, my reading patterns changed. There were some times where I needed to be reading, maybe on, let's say there are some times when I know I have a meeting. Sometimes even when we are having stakeholders meeting, I stay back at home. Like I stay back because I know probably I've already missed, let's say, 2 weeks, and I've not had anything for 2 weeks, and I have a particular meeting I still need to meet up with. I'll say, no, 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 that if I attend this meeting, I'll not be able to meet up with this. So I'll just delegate someone. There's something about delegation. It helps you to be
Yeah.
everywhere at the same time, and yet also getting what you want. So I'll just say, okay, please, can you help me, do this? It was on faculty meeting we were supposed to have, and I just said, okay, I really needed to attend to study for a particular course. So I just asked somebody to please help me and be in the meeting. They were like, how can you not be there? Then I was the only female, president, before we now had 2 more female presidents in the university coming up. So I had to just delegate when I had the time, and also, try to spend more time. Like I had to do more delegation now, more planning now. Time, if I knew I had a meeting in a particular place, that means I had to also plan when I'm supposed to be reading, probably during the day. There was a time that my reading patterns changed into the day. I'm not really a day reader, but I just had to, at least read, because I believe that if you read any book 3 times, you can answer almost any question on it. So I'll
Okay.
just read it like a novel. I might not understand it. I'll just read it like a novel the first time. Anywhere I am, I'll just be reading it. And then I'll read it again the second time. By the time I read that book from end to end the third time, there's nothing you ask me on that book I will not be able to answer. At least to have an idea about it, because it would have stuck on my brain like,
Mm.
excuse me, like a magnet. So I had to just, limit the time I attend to some things so that I can give time to other things, so that I'll be able to be successful in both ways. Yeah.
Okay, wow, that's beautiful. So it also boils down to planning and effective time management, and of course, delegation. Delegation helps you to manage your time effectively, so that you can use other people's time too, which is very critical, which is very important. All right, so finally, my question is, there is this connotation that people do, and of course, I've usually seen it among people who are not interested in making good grades. That's an excuse. That's a statement they use in making excuses. They'll tell you, it's not about good grades, or it's not about good grades. Even the people who got first class, some of them are not doing well. It's about what you can do after school. So and then good. They say good grades is not a guarantee, and that you do well in real life and all that. And somehow they're right, because there are um, there are some people grades maybe by other people's definition, but because me, I believe that success is we define our own success differently. All right. So I want to take your opinion. What do you say about life after school, even after having the best of grades?
Okay. Let me just say the fact is that those people are correct. People are not really
Mm,
successful because of the grades they had in school. Some people are
exactly.
really successful because of their personality, their character, and of course the
Mm,
connections they were able to make. Some people
mm,
are, you just finish school, just have the certificates, and you'll be put in very high positions, even much more than where I am. So I
mm,
agree with them that sometimes you might not actually have a good grade and still be in a very high position up there. However, for those of us who are still struggling, we don't have any connection. Our parents are not government officials, and we need to fight for our own well-being. And you fold
mm,
your hands to say, no problem, oh, I'm not my certificate. It's okay. If that works well for you, I'm happy for you. But I just want
mm.
to advise someone there that it is always good to give the best to whatever you're doing, because you never can
Exactly.
tell where it is going to be required. I know some people
Mm,
that 20 years down the line after graduating, they'll still say, we cannot give this person a job or someone, this one finish the third class,
mm,
finish the pass. There'll be some certain considerations 20 years down the line. You
mm.
understand me? So
Yeah.
just try as much as possible for just these 4 years that will be determining the kind of enjoyment you have in the next, how many years. Especially when you know that you're not connected to anybody and it is your hustle that is going to, make you a living. Of course, we know that God connects people and all of those spiritual things and also physical things, having connections here and there. Of course, in Nigeria, it works. But trust me, if you have a good grade, most scholarships abroad, they
Mm,
will tell you you must have, especially, at least second class upper division. Why do they do this? Why don't they say, okay, just anybody as long as you have a pass? So you see
mm,
that at least if you don't have anybody and you're able to have a good grade, at least it's something. You can have scholarship abroad, go out and study, and then you'd make better living for yourself. So please, for those of us whose parents are not, very rich and connected to be able to give you a good life. You can actually work yourself out by just at least start with having something you can present to say, okay, please, can you help me? Maybe one way or the other, you're looking for employment. Even when you come out, from university, certain employment roles will say, person must have had at least a class upper. Even when they're actually giving executives some executive roles, they'll still put
Mm,
the grade you graduated from in school. I mean, and you look at it, this is like 15 years down the line. So,
yeah,
well, you might say it does not mean a thing to you now, but you never can tell the opportunity that will come out in the future, and whatever
sorry.
you contribute, you graduated with, will
Mm,
be referenced. So it's always good to just make something out of what you have now. It's always good to be the best in whatever you're doing. Make the best out of it. So
yeah,
yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It doesn't hurt to get the best of grades. Like you won't have to start regretting, why did I even get,
When opportunities come here.
exactly. But when you don't have it, you will have to regret. Is when some opportunities come up. I usually say that the truth, nobody should deceive you. The truth is that there are doors that you will knock on and they will never open for you if you don't have good grades. There are some doors that you will knock on. It will never open. Why? Because you don't have, that required, grade that is a prerequisite for you to enter into those doors. I
Yes,
want
and
to.
let me even add here. I went for a particular interview and they rejected me. The
Mm,
reason they rejected me was that I cannot carry my grade, the grade I graduated with, to come and work for them. That's what, as
yeah,
in, they were like, how can you bring this kind of certificate and you're asking us to give you, it was a job of, I think, about 80,000 or 90,000. That no,
mm,
that I'm sorry, you're not eligible for this. That they now said, okay, I should drop my CV. That the next batch of recruitment into this particular position that they were going to, invite me for it. That they
mm,
cannot take me for that particular position I went for interview for. They took me to
mm,
their head of HR and all of that. Well, fortunately, I got a better offer before that other one, before
mm,
the next year when they were supposed to recruit. So you can see that there are certain things that you have, and even when the employer see a bad job, they will even tell you, no, please, this one is not for you.
yeah,
But if I didn't graduate with what I had, they would just say, that was normal graduate. Oh yeah, come and take. So there are some
yeah,
things that you have, and it will just make way for you. I know
yeah,
how what I have actually made way for me even after I've, resumed. So there are certain things you have and ways to just be open for you. I don't want to say too, I don't want to give too much information, but trust me, what I
yeah.
had actually have made ways for me. Yeah.
Mm, mm. Thank you so much. I'm really, really so grateful to you, Chisom, for
Thank
joining
you
me
for
on this
having me.
show. And so a lot of people that are joining us and all other people that are going to watch this video later, they will really, really be grateful to you for, taking your time and sharing, value, very, very vital things. These are practical steps. There is no theory there. These are practical steps of how you were able to make it. And of course, I now understand what it means, that it was indeed a history making, first class. Thank
By God's grace.
you
So
so much.
thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. I would have to, have your parting words now. I have to have your parting words now. But before then, do you permit I share your contact on the screen? If that is okay by you, fine. But if not, please,
Okay,
if
it's
you
fine.
want to connect with her, okay, if you want to connect with her, you can get her contact on the screen. Then you can also connect with her on Facebook. You will see her. She's tagged to this video. Please, connect with her, and if you have further questions and any other discussions, please do. And please don't bug her. Don't bug her with unnecessary messages, unnecessary calls, and all that. All right. So let me have your parting words at this time.
Okay. before I give my parting words, if you want to connect with me, you can just leave me a text message first, because it's most
Okay.
unlikely you might not be able to reach me so easily, especially from Mondays to Fridays. So my parting words is this: when you finally become successful, God is not putting you there because of yourself. So let your success extend to other people. Like, let it be that after you have been able to, say, be placed in a good position, you're able to also stretch forth your hand to raise other people. Because when there are so many people up there with you, if you mistakenly slip to fall down, there'll be people up there already to hold your hand so that you can stay with them. So do
Mm,
not just grow alone. Grow with, have people that you're growing together with, so that you not be a loner. I was discussing with a friend of mine that referred me to you, and I told her that nobody dances alone in a party. You be the one to take your photo. The best you can take is a selfie. You can't even take the entire photo of yourself. You
yeah.
be the only person playing the music. You be the only person dancing. You be the only person, happy with yourself, making merry. The highest you can do in that party is to become depressed, because
Mm,
in a celebration, people are involved. So let it be that when you're climbing up there to where you celebrate, you have people with you who play your drums, who dance with you, who be together with you. Don't just be a loner. When you're climbing up there, hold people's hands, so that
mm,
you'd be able to, you'd even have that fulfillment, that because God took me to this particular place, I was able to take this person along with me.
mm.
So that would be my own parting words.
Thank
Thank you
you
for
so
having me.
much. Thank you so much. When you're climbing, please hold people's hands, because when the chips are down, it is not, it is not, it is not the pictures you took. It is not the fine cars you bought. It is not the
Yeah,
fine buildings where you lived in that will be of assistance to you. If you're
yeah.
building men, you're building a legacy that will outlive you. So when you're
Exactly.
climbing, please hold people's hands. I'm so grateful to you. And so thank you to everyone who
Thank you.
joined. Next week, Saturday, we're going to be coming back and I'm going to be hosting Inyola Daniel. And it's going to be an awesome time. Inyola Daniel graduated with first class from, he did marine biology. I think I'm correct. And I'm going to be hosting him and he also will be sharing his own perspective. Don't miss next week, Saturday. I want to
Thank
beg
you
you.
so
And
much.
I want to say thank you so much, Chisom. It's been
Thank
a
you.
great day having you. And goodbye,
Thank you so much for
everyone.
having me. I really
Goodbye,
greatly
everyone.
appreciate.
Yeah, you're welcome. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay.
It's a pleasure being here.